I'm here to do a DirecTV install of a Genie and a couple Genie Minis, and I'm also going to show the importance of using a meter on your installations to verify signal strength. This will help you reduce service calls. I use a Super Buddy 29. Wait for it to power up here. Alright, you see the bar on the right says 76. There's some fluctuation there. Bar on the left, that's the decibel milliwatts, which is the actual true signal strength. That's the power coming off of the satellite system. You can see it right there by my thumb, which says negative 69.4, and that's no good. So here's the reason why it's important to use a meter, because if you don't, any technician would have just hooked up the receiver, probably would have worked for a bit, but would have eventually failed. Alright, here is the on-cue panel where the DirecTV power supply is. It's a MRV power supply, green label for the multi-room viewing. I originally had an 8-way splitter in here, but I'm just going to bypass it now so I can troubleshoot the system. So there's a white cable coming in from the outside from the satellite dish, and you can see the other end of the cable is also white, which goes to the living room there where we had problems with the signal. Anyways, I'm going to hook up the meter and see what strength we have here. Alright, so here it is. Negative 36 is our true signal strength, and on the right there it says 98, which is the reading you would get off of the dish whenever you're aligning it, fine-tuning it, or the kind of strength, the values that you would get from the satellite signal meter screen on the receiver itself. You may notice the L&B is off there on the right side next to the right bar. The L&B doesn't need to be powered up from the meter at this point because I'm taking levels off of the power supply for the system. So anyways, signal's good here, and it shouldn't be very much different in the living room. But anyways, once again, the cable is white here, so let's go check the cable in the living room. Alright, well, the cable in the living room is black. So white cable in the on-cue panel, black cable here. That means that somewhere in between this point there's a splice. The splice from the white cable to the black cable. And that's probably why we have problems with the signal. Anyways, it's only about 40 feet from here to the on-cue panel, and the amount of signal loss that we saw originally in the first clip was just terrible. So anyways, let's take a look into the system. Alright, I found a white cable in the attic, which is going in the direction of where the living room is. So I'm going to trace this back. I'm going to have to crawl back into the attic a ways, trace it back to see if I can find a splice back there. So I'm going to crawl back there and we'll see what I find. Well, this white cable continues back through there, and I don't want to crawl through there. I saw a in-wall speaker on the other side of the living room, which I'm going to take that off and take a look in there and see if I can find anything in there. So here's the room that's on the other side of the living room, and where I found those in-ceiling or in-wall speakers. So I did find the cable that was going down into that spot where we were testing signal strength originally. There you see it's black. So it's black at this point. There was a company that came out and actually did some structured wiring here for whoever had the house before and installed these in-wall speakers. So they obviously messed up something somewhere. Anyways, over on the other side where the other in-wall speaker is another part of the cable. That cable actually goes over to the first loop that you saw there just a second ago. Well, I found this behind that second in-wall speaker that you saw from the last clip. This is connected from the on-cue to the living room, and this is the reason why the strength was poor. I'm surprised any signal got past this point. Anyways, who knows how many technicians it would have taken to come out here and actually try and work on the system before they would have even found this. Alright, so here's that black cable that you saw went to the splitter over there, but it's a black cable here and a white cable in the on-cue panel. Let's see. There's a splice from a black cable to the white. This black cable is long enough to go into the on-cue panel, but instead they spliced it to a white one so that they could obviously charge the customer for running a line when they didn't really do it. Anyways, I'm going to pull a new line for the living room so it's all one piece now, bypass that splitter. Alright, so I was able to pull a new cable all the way from the on-cue panel to this point here, and I'm going to pull a bit extra so I can actually run it into the living room over there. I'm going to need a helper to do that, so I'm going to just go ahead and splice it to this black cable here for now. This customer is actually going to hire us to come out and do some structured wiring and get everything set up correctly so there won't be any issues in the future. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and splice this in, and we'll take signal levels and see what we have. So before I go and check signal strength in the living room, just wanted to show you guys the new cable run that's in the on-cue panel. I spooled it up so that there's extra just in case if you have to move things around the on-cue panel or change a connector. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and hook it up, go in the living room and test signal strength. Well, there you have it. We went from -67 to -45, which is a lot better and pretty much where it should be. That's the amount of loss that you would normally get from the on-cue panel over the length of cable to here. And now we're reading between 98 and 97 on the signal strength. So we fixed the cable run here, and this system, this receiver will function properly. So remember, it only takes a minute to test the outlets that you're hooking up to the satellite system. Using a meter for installs and service calls will save you time, plus ensure the customer system will function properly for the long term. I hope you learned something with this video. Thank you for watching.